start the recording. So welcome everyone to this Japa meditation seminar. And our goal of this seminar is to understand how to chant attentively and how to focus on our chanting. The first thing that we want to get proper is our sitting position when you sit to chant. So if you want to chant properly, it's a combination of the body. It's a combination of the body and mind and breath. The connection with the body and the mind is by the breath. So if you are able to chant attentively, that means you are able to control the breathing properly. So the breathing, when controlled properly, it will also help you concentrate, and we will look at all of that. The first thing is, let us do the sitting positions first. So what are the first sitting positions that you really need to get proper? So I have seen that many of us try to walk and chant, which is like the last resort. So whenever you are chanting on a mala or beads, you should not be walking, because walking is increasing vata. So you are trying to keep up with the walking and try to focus on the mind on that. That's like a last resort. But the best thing that you can do is to sit properly. If you understand what Prabhupada said to one devotee, he said, sit properly. So what do you mean sit properly? So if we sit properly, and if you are able to sit for a long time attentively, that means our concentration, our focus will increase. So I want to show you a couple of sitting postures. The first sitting posture is Swastikasana. So Swastikasana, you keep your left leg in the perineum, and Srila Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavatam that this is the best pose to sit, and I have made a video on that also. And the right foot in between the thighs here, and the left foot in between the thighs, and your back is straight. This is the easiest and the best position. The more your back is straight, the attentiveness improves. The back is called as Meru Danda. So in terms of sitting position, the back, when it is straight, that means you are attentive. The moment your back is like this, then your focus is also like this. So that is why yoga practitioners, they strengthen the backbone first when you practice, because the more stronger and straighter your back, the more you are able to sit straight without having to strain the back. So this is the first pose that is very very good for the practice. The second is the Siddhasana. So Siddhasana means your heel goes in between the perineum. Now the right heel, this is the Buddha pose. Lord Shiva and Lord Buddha, you will find sitting in this pose. So this heel is here, then the genital in between, and the other heel goes exactly on top. So this is even more, makes you even more straighter, stronger, back straight. So I really love this position, because in this position you can sit for very, very long. Swastikasana, but Siddhasana makes your back even straighter. So just to wind up, so Swastikasana, left heel to the perineum and right foot comes in between the two legs. This is explained by Srila Prabhupada in one purport. So he calls Swasti Samasinaha. The second one, which is very good, is the left foot comes in the perineum, and the right heel, the left heel is there, the genital in between, and the other heel comes on top. You can see here. So in this pose, this is the easiest pose to sit for a long time. In the Shiva Samhita, Lord Shiva, who is the topmost yogi, he explains that if you are able to sit in this pose, This purifies the pelvic region. All the nadis in the pelvic region are purified by this pose. You see Buddha sitting in this pose, Lord Shiva sitting in this pose. So this pose, Siddhasana, is Siddha. It is for Siddhi. It is for perfection. So if you are able to sit in this pose like an hour and a half, actually around 2 hours is 5 ghatika. So 5 ghatika, 1 ghatika is 24 minutes. If you are able to sit in one pose for 5 ghatikas, that is 2 hours. But at least 1.5 hours if you are able to sit down, then that purifies the entire nadi. So there is the nadi, Surya, Ida, Pingala and Sushumna, which runs from the back to the top of the head. Now that is where all the action takes place. The more the nadis are purified, the more your chanting is clearer. Chanting is when you hear, you should be able to hear very clearly. Now let me explain the mechanism of the sound. Let me come a little closer. I just went back a little bit to show you the pose. If you are not able to sit in any of these, you can try sitting even in Vajrasana. Just to add the point, you can even sit in Vajrasana, but sit comfortably. You should be able to sit for a long time if you really want attentive chanting. So you can sit in Vajrasana. If not any of these three, then sit in any pose, simple pose, but keep your back straight. That's the main thing. The one I do Padmasana, but Padmasana I can sit for like 45 minutes up to an hour. This is the best for breathing, but for meditation, Siddhasana is recommended. So Padmasana is good, but it's very difficult to hold Padmasana for a long time. So Siddhasana is recommended. So this is about the sitting postures. If you have any questions, please. Okay. Sorry, is everyone able to hear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So if you are able to hear, that's fine. Yeah. So anytime my sound is not audible, let me know. So now I am sitting in Siddhasana, back is straight. What is the next thing I need to worry about in chanting? So in chanting, the most important thing is the vow, the beginning, the mood. The preparation, once you sit straight, like Srila Prabhupada says in a tape, what does he say? Sit properly, Prabhupada says. So sit properly first. So once you sit properly, the next thing you need to really focus on is getting the sound out and here. In the beginning, it seems a bit mechanical, but this is baby steps. The biggest problem, offense in chanting. See, there are 3 types of chanting, right? The first is called offensive, right? And what is the mother of all offenses? Anybody? Anybody can unmute and answer or chat.
Not paying attention.
Not paying attention, right? So not paying attention, fully chanting in tension, right? One should chant completely under the shelter of Krishna. So to be attentive is the first step towards offense-less chanting, to be attentive. Now, how to be attentive? It can be a little mechanical, but we have to work hard towards it. So how is that? The biggest clue I found to be attentive is from the Japa book by, who is that? Burijan Prabhu. So a very beautiful book. But how does the mechanism work? Now listen carefully about how the chanting mechanism works. So when you chant, okay, Hare Krishna or any mantra, Govinda, Hare Krishna. So what happens? Next step, the mantra has to come out and mantra has to enter the ear. Now what happens here is once it enters the ear, it should enter your mind should pay attention, your mind should receive the mantra. Your mind should receive the mantra and the mind should take bath in the mantra. You should hear the mantra, the mind should take bath, like fully receive it. If you do not pay attention, then the mantra is lost. So you have to pay full attention to the mantra. Now, where is the mind? I have explained this if you have attended my previous classes, I have explained this very detailedly, but in short, I will explain. Where is the mind? Anybody who has attended any of my previous classes, where is the mind?
In the region of the heart.
In the region of the heart. Perfect. So the mind is actually, the soul is 1/10,000 the tip of hair, they say. That means it has no material dimension. But the soul is just big enough. This mind, sorry, is just big enough to cover the soul. So it's like a bubble. So it's in your heart region. So in your heart region is actually the soul and the mind. So it's in the heart region. Let me just share this on my Facebook so that, where do I share? Share. Okay, anyways, so we find that if we focus, when we chant this mantra, it has to enter the ear, then it has to enter the heart. What carries the sound? What carries the sound into the ear and into the heart?
Is it air?
It's a mixture of ether and air. Okay, it's a mixture of ether and air, because sound is ether. Ether is what contains sound, but it is carried by air. So that is why the air synchronization is very, very important. So when you chant, the mixing, that is very, very important. So the most important aspect of chanting is the synchronization of the sound. Okay, now I'm able to share. So if we focus on hearing, so the sound has to enter, and then that same sound the air has to carry it into the mind. Now you can understand, when you have a disturbed mind, right? When we have a disturbed mind, there are two things that happens. The air is disturbed in general. The air is disturbed. So when we chant, okay, now tell me, all of you are chanting, many of you are chanting mantra. What is the biggest obstacle? What is the biggest obstacle you face?
Lot of distraction. Mind is not able to control, pay attention.
Focus. Mind is not able to pay attention. Correct? That is the biggest thing we face. So when we chant, we get lot of thoughts. Right? We get lot of thoughts. Now the mechanism how this works, why this lot of thoughts? This has to go back to the Uddhava Gita. In the Uddhava Gita, Krishna explains to Uddhava, before he meditates on Krishna's beautiful form, because first the holy name, the second is Nama Rupa Guna Leela, then Krishna's form becomes manifest. First his name, then his form. Before the form, Krishna tells Uddhava, Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. Why? What happens is, whenever you get angry, disturbed, tensed, all these emotions, they are stored in the nadis. They are stored in your nervous system. They are stored in your subtle body. They are actually stored in your subtle body. So what happens is, there is a network of nadis. So the more we are in the mode of passion and ignorance, they are more full of thought. They are more full of disturbances. So the first thing before you sit to chant is we have to take care of our diet, because moment you come in contact with Rajas, we eat Rajasic food. So why we are doing this Chandrayaan? So many of you who are joining today, you are already in the Chandrayaan diet. Means we control our diet, we practice yoga. Why is all that? Because the more we eat Rajasic food, chili, pakodas, we eat, all kinds of fried and heavy food, then what happens? It pressurizes your body. When there is all the thoughts is a movement of pressure. When you come in contact with Rajasic food, anger, Rajasic actions, all these Rajasic and Tamasic actions, when you watch some music video, just on Facebook you are scrolling, you see something. So all those disturbances that are there, they cause an impression on your subtle body, and a desire or an emotion gets stored in the nerves, in the nadis. And many a times, many things we forget, many things we aren't able to remember, many things we think of, desire, and we want to do it later. So these are all sitting in the roots of our nervous system. So when we want to chant, the holy name is something that is designed to penetrate the heart. Patanjali explains that when the mind is clear, when the mind is completely clear, then the holy name, the mantra, the mind becomes like a diamond. Like a diamond means like a diamond in the sky. No, like a diamond. Diamond means it will, a jewel, it reflects an object like a perfect mirror. It reflects an object perfectly, a pure mind, a sattvic mind. So Patanjali explains, and in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also explains that the more the mind is sattvic, right? I give the example in computer language, we call GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, right? So but when the mind, you expose it to sattva guna in eating, in lifestyle, in activity, in dealings, keeping away anger, frustration, all these things, then the mind becomes sattvic. So then what happens when the holy name comes there, the mind is pure, it gets attracted. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that I will explain to you that yoga. In the 7th chapter, Krishna says that by which your mind will be attracted to me. That by which your mind is attracted to me. So we have to purify our mind so that it gets automatically attracted to Krishna. And to this point, I have to add, when Bhishma Dev, in the Bhagavatam, in the last days, when Krishna comes and Bhishma Dev is telling Krishna, is giving Krishna, and he's telling Krishna, please marry my daughter. Who is Bhishma Dev's daughter? Bhishma Dev is not even married. But he says, please marry my daughter. Now, who is that daughter? Pure mind. The purified mind. So the biggest friend of a yogi, of a devotee, is a purified mind. To the degree in the Yoga Sutras, liberation is explained when by our transcendental practices, by the fire of tapasya, by the fire of austerity, we are able to burn up all our previous hidden emotions. Many lifetimes we have been through, the mind collects all those desires, all those emotions, and when you sit to chant, all those emotions come back up. And until they are done, your mind will not let you free. Those are all the disturbances, all the thoughts come back. So there is a method. So basically, to attentively chant 2 hours, we have to make sure that all the other 22 hours are very, very nicely and strictly, we try to be in the mode of goodness as much as we can. That is rule number 1. Keep yourself clean, keep yourself focused, wear clean clothes, eat sattvic food. Not eat anything, drink coffee, all these things. Then what happens? Gigo in, garbage out. So when you try to chant, all the garbage tries to come out. But if you are feeding only sattva guna all the time, then when you try to chant, the sattva guna comes out. The qualities of the sattva guna begins to show. Just like many last time during the chanting, during the Chandrayana, the Nirjal fasting came about. The waterless fasting came about, Ekadashi. And many of our participants could do Nirjal Ekadashi without difficulty. And they said, I have never seen myself being able to hold or control the mind, because the control is automatic. When you are in the mode of goodness, the control is automatic. So the more we are able to control the mind, the more we are able to come to the mode of goodness. That is the key. Live a life in the mode of goodness. Now when you sit to chant, you should be completely in the mode of goodness. You should be completely clear. You should be completely focused. Your heart should be in the right place. And now it's not just so, with all this in the background, right? I'm able to sit properly. And now when I begin to chant, what is my goal? Now the goal is important. Before I chant, I take a vow. There's one beautiful saying that moment you identify with the soul, completely, your thought process completely changes. Moment you identify with the soul. Moment you identify with the soul. So you are identifying with the ego or thought process. One way to become attentive in chanting is to first set your sight on the soul. In the Upanishads, I don't remember which Upanishad, but in Upanishad it says, the mantra is like the arrow, and it should hit the soul. The mantra, Om, should be the arrow, and it should hit the soul. Because the soul is sleeping. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole. Jiva jago. Jiva jago. You have to wake up the soul, because what is happening? The subtle perceives the gross. So in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Indriyani paranyahu. Your senses can see the body, but the body cannot see the senses. Indriyebhya param manaha. The mind can see the senses. The senses cannot see the mind. Manasastu para buddhe. The intelligence can perceive the mind, can see the mind, but the mind cannot see the intelligence. It is even subtle. Yo buddhe parasastu saha. But subtler than all of these is the soul. The interesting part is neither the intelligence, neither the mind, neither the body, neither the senses. None of these can perceive the soul. It can only be perceived by sound. The only way is the soul has to wake up itself. Because neither your intelligence also cannot see the soul. The soul has to wake up. That is called self-realization. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jiva jago, oh soul, wake up. So when you are sitting to chant, you are awakening the soul. That should be your first goal. What am I trying to do here? Oh, I got to finish my 16 rounds. What is that? No. I am awakening the soul. I am doing the purest activity. I am doing the topmost activity. Yes, why? If I achieve this, then what does Krishna say? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. If you awaken the soul, Brahma bhuta prasannatma, what happens? The soul is able to perceive the self. Krishna says, then the transcendental senses of the soul is awakened. When the transcendental senses of the soul is awakened, the soul is able to perceive everything below. So the soul goes in control. So then what happens? He explains beautifully, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. He becomes completely joyful. Na shochati. And what is the symptom that you have chanted offenselessly? Na shochati. No lamentation. Oh, I lost my house, I lost money, I lost this, no lamentation, I gained the holy name. Na kangshati. Human civilization, in the Bhagavatam it explains, animals are in fear. Humans are in lamentation. And demigods are in complete mode of happiness. They are in enjoyment. But humans are in lamentation. So our whole focus is, oh my God, I got to do this. Oh my God, I have to plan for my life. We are always in lamentation. Oh my God, I have to do this. So we are always in a lamentative state. But he says, if you chant offenselessly, then your lamentation is gone. But then you have to chant in the mode of goodness. So this is the whole preparation behind the chanting. It is the most sacred, most powerful, most beautiful activity. And if we want to make this activity successful, then get all the preparations. Come to the mode of goodness. Purify the airs. Sit straight and give Krishna your complete attention. Not only give him your attention. Krishna, I am in this trouble. Krishna, I am in that trouble. He knows all troubles you have. But he says, if you awaken the soul, then all your troubles are gone. They are already mine. But we have to awaken the soul. And that one activity of chanting can take care of everything. This much confidence we should have. So when I sit to chant, I have to forget. I have to take a vow. That right at this moment, even if there is a nuclear bomb blast, this is the best thing I can do. I can remember Krishna. This is the highest activity. Even if a snake comes and bites me right now, but this is the highest activity that I'm going to do. So no matter what your problems are, until and unless you have chanted, until and unless you have offenselessly chanted, you have meditated on Krishna, until and unless you have done your sadhana, it's not going to it's not going to work. Okay, there is a quick question here. I feel my feet getting numb if sit cross-legged continuously. What can I do? So here is a solution. So that's why I said it's not that everybody is able to sit in the one position for long. So in general, if you can sit, that is good. If not, sit in a comfortable position. If not, you can keep changing your positions every 15-20 minutes or so. Worst to worst, you can sit on a chair. But keep your back straight, attentive. The thing is, the more your body is in motion, your vata increases. You are only allowed to walk and chant only when you are about to fall asleep. That's the only thing. When you are really, but I have seen some devotees in temple, even when they are sleepy, even when they walk, they can sleep. So even that is dangerous. But try to make yourself comfortable, not sleepy, but comfortable. That's the main thing. Just like it is said, if you want to get the full benefits of listening to Bhagavatam, you should not have food also. But if not, have something. But you should not be, you should be comfortable, but don't overeat and sleep. No, make yourself comfortable. So sitting, it is best to sit down and chant. That's the mode of goodness. And then moving about all this is like once one devotee was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Prabhupada said, okay, calm down. Otherwise your brain will pop out, So we have to chant in a mode of goodness, very calm. We are very calm. We are completely confident about Krishna. We are very confident about the success. So in the mode of goodness, when the preparation is there, I am here to awaken the soul. And it begins in the beginning. We don't add too much emotion. We meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna and we hear. So your chanting, the mantra should enter the ear and then it should enter the heart. Attentive. So right now, I am only going to hear Krishna's name. I am going to completely depend on him. I'm not going to think about anything else. Even if anything else comes up, I want to depend upon Krishna. That should be the mood. There was once a king who used to do his prayer between 8 and 10 a.m. in the morning. It's a story I heard, but I don't remember the exact names and everything, but it's a very beautiful story. So this king was worshipping Krishna between 8 and 10 a.m. every morning. And then one day, an opposite king, he exactly attacked at 8 o'clock. He knew 8 to 10, he locks himself in his room and he is worshipping Krishna. Abhishek, Aarti, Puja, offering, chanting, everything. 2 hours. And he attacked at 8 o'clock. The general went to his room and he was banging the door. Oh, king, open the door. We have been attacked. He said, no, I am going to depend on Krishna. This is my time to worship. This is my puja. This is my worship. I am going to depend on Krishna. And he said, I am going to depend on Krishna. So what he did? He just carried on with this puja. The general thought, okay, I am going to try my best. Whatever happens, happens. He went. As he went, from a distance, he saw that this king is actually fighting them already. And then they fought bravely. They won and they came back by 10 o'clock. Within 2 hours, the war was over. And he told the king, and he opened the door, and king opened the door at the exact time. He said, oh my God, you fought so valiantly and you got into your room also. Amazing, he said. He said, what room? What fighting valiantly? He said, you fought valiantly there. He said, then he realized it was Krishna who came as this king, and Krishna actually saved. Krishna saved the kingdom. So one who depends completely on Krishna, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. If we depend on our intelligence, Krishna says, okay, now use your intelligence. If we depend on your mind, okay, use your mind. If you are scared, okay, whatever state you are in, your sincerity is important. So when you chant, I want to totally depend on Krishna. Krishna, now I leave everything to you. He controls the entire ocean. He controls the entire universe. My problems are nothing. So if I get a complete dhrada vrata, Krishna says, one who is completely confident of me, he worships me without any break. Dhrada vrata, he is completely fixed. By the way, this bead bag is very special for me because I was doing some programs in prison, and one prisoner, he stitched this together. It's a very beautiful bead bag. I still have. So this prisoner stitched this. It's a very special bead bag. So anyways, so now when we start to chant, okay, I take this vow. I'm very clear about my goal, that I'm here to awaken the soul and no material problem. So I have to keep my identity aside. I am going to only hear the holy name and I'm going to give up everything else. All other thoughts, Radhanath Maharaj gives a very beautiful lecture. He says, neglect. Learn to neglect the mind. That is the art of yoga. Neglect the mind. The mind is immediately trying to tell you to do this, do that. Mind is telling, now you have so many things to do. You are chanting now. This is the time to chant. You have so many things pending. Neglect. So the more you become proficient at neglecting the mind, the more you are able to chant nicely. You have to just, because the thing is that samskara is strong. That particular thought, that particular disturbing thought or whatever thought, it's very strong. So you have to weaken it. How do you weaken it? Ignore it. We have to learn to ignore it. So and strengthen our vow. So in the beginning, it takes a little bit of time. Now, when we sit to chant, the one rule, one mantra at a time. Now we are getting down to the how do we chant, okay? So when I chant, I noticed that when I try to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, the problem is that as I am chanting, what is the connection between mind and consciousness? Okay. So the mind is the center of the sensory input. Your mind is the center of sensory input. And mind is where all your repository of thoughts, your memories, everything is there. So mind is connected to what is called as nadis, nerves, subtle and gross nadis. So your subtle body, your mind is exactly shaped like you. It has the same hair. Okay, I'm joking, but anyway, it's shaped like your mind. It's shaped, your physical body is what your mind also is looking like. So it thinks like you. So what happens is your mind is receiving thought, all the ego, like something happens. Even before you understand what has actually happened, your feeling is there. Oh my God, he got first rank. I got second rank. Oh my God, I should have been first. All these feelings are happening inside because of identification. So the mind's identification with the ego. So mind is the center of sensory input, calculation, and output. So mind is like the interface between the intelligence, the soul and intelligence, which are very close. And there is the body and the senses. So mind is right in between. If the mind is purified, then when your sensory input comes, when you're in the mode of rajas, somebody gives you a glass of water, you're like, oh, okay, water, like this. But if you're in the mode of goodness, you're like, you take the water, you're calm, you drink nicely, keep the cup nicely, right? You see. So the mind, if it is in the mode of goodness, it receives the sensory input properly and it gives the intelligence the right input. And when the intelligence is pure, the output that comes from the intelligence after processing the desire of the mind, the function of the mind. What is the function of the mind? Can anybody say what is the function of the mind?
To desire.
To desire, yes, to reflect and desire. So whatever is your sensory input, it reflects and desire. Sometimes we can mix material and spiritual desire. That is the worst thing. In the temple, somebody is doing nice kirtan. You are like, I can do better kirtan than that. That is false ego. That is material desire. If we, that desire is that is in the mode of passion and ignorance. So that is why bottom line is, the mind is, that is why the whole focus of yoga is the mind, because the mind is the center of sensory input, bodily input, and the intelligence, whatever it processes and it gives, the output is again the mind. Just like somebody tells you, okay, close the door. When you're in mode of anger, you're like, bam. No, but when you're calm, when the mind is peaceful, you close the door. So the mind should be in the mode of goodness. Mind should be calm. The more, if you hear, there is one sentence, I will tell this and then we'll go to chanting. The test, the real test of a yogi, of a spiritualist, even in the most difficult circumstance, if he is able to tolerate and keep himself calm, in the most most aggravating situation, when he is able to remain calm. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanye vatmana tushtaha stita prajnast dochyate. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, whatever sensory input comes, the mind, the pure mind, what does it do? Oh, there is some sensory enjoyment there. What does the mind do? Let it go, because atmanye vatmana tushtaha, because the mind can focus either on the external body or on the internal body. That is so mind can focus both ways. But we want to focus internal. That is why on Ekadashi we say, don't eat Because if you're always eating, imagine your physical body is always busy, busy, busy. Where is the time to sit and focus the mind? Then we cannot tolerate hunger also. Then what sense control we have achieved? So that is why upavas. So we control our eating process, everything, so that the pranavayu, the airs, they can be directed properly. Otherwise, your prana, your airs are always busy digesting. Where is the focus on Krishna? So to focus, of course, prasadam is also Krishna. We can argue that way. But Krishna says, don't overeat. And Ekadashi, he says, fast. There is a meaning to it. So that we are able to focus on the internal self. So that the vayu, the airs are directed internally. All this has to come with the control of the body, as senses and the mind. Okay. Now when we try to chant, the biggest thing is now one mantra at a time. This is the secret. So one mantra at a time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what I used to do was Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I slowed down for a first few rounds or first 1 or 2 rounds. I slowed down. Why? I have to get my attention right. So what would I do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Did I hear? My only focus would be, did I hear? Okay. The next one. I noticed that, I'm sure all of you would have noticed too. Between one mantra and the next, if you give a little gap, some thought creeps in. Yes? How many of you agree? Right? Give me a thumbs up, right? Okay. Right? One thought creeps in and takes you some time, then a few mantras are gone. Right? For it to come back. One thought, it takes you somewhere, then it's difficult to come back. Victory. So every mantra is a victory. Can everybody hear me still clearly?
We missed the last part, Prabhuji, like last 10-15 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
You were saying so.
Yeah. So the thing is, so every mantra is a victory. Clear? Now you can hear, right? Clearly. So every mantra is a victory. So every mantra that we chant attentively is the real victory. So don't get too far ahead. Focus on one mantra at a time. Okay. So what I did was Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I started slow because I have to chant 2 hours. I'm not in a hurry. I don't have to catch a flight now. Vaikuntha plane will come. Even if it comes, they will pick me up. No problem. I don't have to hurry. I have to only hurry. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My entire focus, as soon as one mantra was over, was, did I hear? Did I hear? Then the next one. So I would be eager. So that's what, you are eager to only welcome the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With every mantra, we should be very eager to welcome Krishna into our heart. Because when you hear, what is the mechanism? You welcome Krishna into your heart. And with that bliss, you should be focused so much that I am welcoming Krishna. With that bliss, you should be focusing. Then see, that's when the mode of goodness comes in, because then you are able to focus for a long time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I'm welcoming. Of course, then it becomes default. Means your attentiveness becomes default. So one mantra at a time. So every mantra, if I chant attentively, some devotee started telling me, Prabhu, if we follow like that, we start getting headaches because we have never really focused. But when you focus, what happens is really there is a little stress on the mind. But then after some time, that becomes your secondary nature. So let us chant attentively like this. So every mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just question yourself, did I hear? And as I am chanting, am I hearing? You should be eager to simply drink the whole mantra. I don't want to miss one syllable. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Moment I miss hearing, moment I miss the chanting, if I miss it a little bit, then what would I do? I would stop and I would say, okay, did I hear? Next, I'm getting ready. I'm preparing my mind. I don't want to miss. Next, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. So the start of every mantra. So you should take not the whole round, every mantra independently. The round is a consolidation, 108. But we are chanting every mantra. The secret is every mantra. So every mantra, when you chant attentively, clearly, then you get the benefit. So can we chant like this? I am eager to hear. And where am I focusing? The physical beats, I focus. At the same time, I focus on the heart. Of course, before you start to chant, you have to beg the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the Panchatattva Mahamantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Attentively. And only with their blessings. So we have to meditate on their blessings. We have to meditate on the blessings of all the acharyas, all the devotees. And before you chant, forgive, beg forgiveness, and also forgive. If anybody has committed offense to you, if somebody you have offended, beg forgiveness. Completely beg forgiveness with a free mind. That is the most important thing that I found. We have to completely beg forgiveness. We have to be completely free in heart. And with a peaceful, free heart, now we begin to chant attentively, just being there to receive the mercy. Okay? All right. So now let's chant. When we chant, let's try to focus. Sit with back straight. Focus on hearing, okay? And just question yourself, am I hearing? Just be aware. Just become aware. And if you miss, then after one mantra, just stop and just think next. Let me focus on the next mantra. Become eager, okay? So let's chant like a couple of minutes and let's try to apply this principle, okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So now then, were you able to apply this principle? Okay. So
Yes.
yes, did it make a difference a little bit? Did it make some difference? Were you able to be more conscious? Right? So, so the thing is, if you are able to focus on every syllable, every word, then you are becoming Krishna conscious. First, you have to become conscious of the names, because we cannot be unconscious. The name of Krishna I'm chanting, I have to be conscious. The holy name has to dominate my mind. And that is why when we say, what should we think? That means our mind is not fully focused on the holy name. The sound should overwhelm your mind. That is the only sound that should reverberate the mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Nothing else. That is the only thing that should reverberate. That means your attention is one focused, one pointed. The mind has two tendencies. So the mind has two Sarvagra and Ekagra. Sarvagra means it is in many places. It thinks of so many things. But Ekagra means it is focused on one thing. All the attention, all the energy is focused on one point, powerful point. And then from that point, the entire attention of the mind is on one point only. And that one point, that one focus dominates the mind. So that is how we should chant. Okay? So now let us focus. Now the second thing why I did the half round now we will finish the full round, is the beads. So when you hold each bead, be conscious. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If you focus, this will also improve your focus. Sometimes when we are chanting, in the middle of the mantra itself, we change the beads. Or we are feeling 2-3 beads at a time. No. Feel one bead, and moment that mantra ends, jump to the next bead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Change. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then you change. I was listening to one devotee from Chowpatty. His name is Govind Prabhu, very senior devotee. He was telling the meaning of Bharata. I was amazed. He said, Bhajan Ragatal. So Bhajan Ragatal means everything is in such a beautiful rhythm. It should be a rhythm. So similarly, your beats, the chanting and the beats, there should be such a rhythm. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So every Hare, when you jump, you are very conscious that the new mantra is coming in. You have to become conscious. So then the mantra overwhelms you. You are completely conscious. Every word is resounding in your mind. That is the first step. Then we get into faster chanting. Maybe I'll do that next time because it will be too much. Let us adopt this principle of attentiveness first. Maybe on the weekend I'll do part 2. So once again, let's continue now. And now let's be aware of the beats. Aware of the beats. So at the end of every mantra, change your beads very carefully. And what are the beads? The beads are the lotus feet of Krishna. I am hanging on to his lotus feet. A few days ago, one of my devotee friends died, and that was really shocking for me. And I could really think, I'm almost there or halfway there to death. You never know when it is going to come. It's a very painful moment when everything has to end. But that moment, it's not everything is going to end. The real life is going to begin. And if we are not attentive in our chanting, the real life, and Radhanath Maharaj says something beautiful. Don't wait to remember Krishna till the point of death. No, if you cannot do it now, forget about remembering him at the point of death. So we have to do it now. We have to be aware now, right? They have all these advertisements. Now, text now. It's actually now. There's no tomorrow. It's today. What you have, according to the Yoga Sutra, what you have is today. You don't have a blank check for tomorrow. The tomorrow is not guaranteed. Past is over. What you have is now. Let's make the best of now by attentively, fully giving the mind to focus of the mind to one point, that is the holy name. Okay, now let's chant here. Be aware of the bead and press the bead nicely, and then move to the next bead. Like at the end of the mantra, jump to the next bead at the same time. If you keep on coordinating, then it becomes second nature. Then you are aware. Okay, this is one more awareness point you are adding. Okay, all right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in this way, as you chant, be aware of every beat, be aware of the full mantra, every word, be aware, be conscious, apply this. And in case you miss, in case you feel you are slipping, in case you are not able to, so then stop, pause. Am I hearing? My only focus is to hear, 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 hear. And as you do that, it will become second nature to just hear. It will become second nature, means your mind, in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, whenever the mind wanders, you have to bring it back. You have to bring it back. So similarly, when you are chanting, some thoughts may come. Just learn to neglect and just let focus on the holy name. Learn to neglect, focus, focus, focus. And you keep on doing this over a period of time. It becomes second nature. All right. So let's chant a couple of more minutes applying this principle. Any thought comes. Let's finish this round that we have all started. I have almost 40% of the round remaining. Let us finish this round. Okay, I will chant at my speed and I'll try to finish. You can chant at your speed, but yes, completely focus on the hearing. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. All right. So similarly, attentively chant, attentively hear, keep the focus, cultivate mode of goodness in this way. So I'll just wait a couple of minutes and then we will. So if anybody has any questions, then we can take some questions. Either by chat or you can unmute yourself and ask any questions. So are there any questions at this point? If there are no questions, that means everybody got liberated by the chanting. So that's a good sign.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a small question. I mean, just in relation to the one which I've already sent. I have asked for what is the connection between the mind and the consciousness. Actually, probably I was not able to explain things properly to you. What I actually asked you was, see, when we say mind does thinking, feeling, and willing, and consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So when we talk about the deep samskaras, we usually refer to the consciousness and say the samskaras are in the mind, I mean in the consciousness, right? And we also talk about thoughts in the mind, and when we refer to thoughts in the mind, saying that which are deep in the mind also. So what is the relation when you say the sanskaras are in the consciousness, and when you say the thoughts are deep in the mind, and when they come into the from the recesses of the mind, they come onto the top. Sometimes we talk like that. So in that sense, what's the connection?
So the thing is, mind is a repository. Okay. So all these samskaras that you have had in any number of births, everything is still there. Only thing is they are not manifest. What is manifesting now is the prarabdha. So what is manifesting now is the, oh my God, okay, is the prarabdha samskara. So, but everything is there. Bhumi, close the door. So everything is there in your mind from your first birth till today. Everything is there in your mind. It's already there. The samskaras is there. The subtle body carries all these impressions in your mind. It does not go away. Only thing you can do is weaken it. That is why till they say, till you reach prema bhakti, you have a chance of fall down. Because the greatest danger of a yogi, for a yogi, according to the Yoga Sutra, the greatest danger for a yogi is his own samskaras of his previous births or bad habits of this birth. That's why sometimes somebody becomes a spiritual practitioner, practices very nicely, then something happens, goes wrong, he goes back to his old habits. And we have seen that in our Hare Krishna movement also. People had some issues, some problems, some bad habits, they become devotees, they continue for some time, but after that what happens? They go back to their old habits when they are not able to continue, because when you start to chant once, this samskara, the chanting, in the beginning it overwhelms you. That is little bit mode of transcendence. Krishna gives you a taste and mode of passion. Everything is there in the beginning. Yes, we are. But then if you do not adopt the mode of goodness, Then if you do not adopt the mode of goodness, then what happens? These samskaras are ready to come back. And I have seen people in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, they are very nice. They chant everything. But then all of a sudden something happens and they go back to their old nature. They are still chanting, but the mode of goodness is gone. Today I was discussing with Amarendra Prabhu, very beautiful point. And we were discussing that that a devotee can change his karma only in the mode of goodness. So these samskaras are there in the repository. So when you chant, they try to come up. They try to prevent you. Oh, this desire is left. I am left. What about me? What about me? All these desires, they come back. Or all the trauma, suffering that you have undergone. What about me? What about me? The more you neglect them, the more you focus on Krishna, the more you sincerely focus on Krishna, all these disturbances will be minimized. That is the art of chanting attentively. That is why today I wanted to do also chanting with breath, but then I thought that is too much for one day. So if you are able to focus on attentive chanting, that is the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Dhanavads. Yeah. Can we chant at 2:30 according to India time? Yeah, you can chant anytime. But the thing is, body should be well rested. Your body should be well rested. And the thing is, it all depends on the pressure in the mind. Sometimes you are half sleepy, means the body, when you eat, what happens? All the heaviness in the body, all the pressure in the body is in the belly. It's trying to take rest. It is trying to get out of that situation. So, if you want to really get fresh, you sleep well, the airs in the body are balanced, then when you chant, the balance is proper, because the connection between the sound, the mind and the sound that you hear, of course, one beautiful thing that I heard from Garuda Prabhu was that Krishna's name is transcendental. It is not material sound. But Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's mercy, he enters the material realm into this sound. Because even material sound, different levels we cannot hear. What we can hear about Krishna? But it is Krishna's mercy that his sound enters our hearing range. And we can hear about him. It is his mercy. Because animals can hear different and better than us. But it is Krishna's mercy that within this sound range that we can hear. So his name is transcendental. So that's why we have to hear very attentively and surrender. And then the transcendence acts, So the mood is very important. Srila Prabhupada says, attitude for progress, what a devotee needs is a good attitude. So that is, attitude is surrender. That real surrender. Humility and surrender.
Prabhu, one question or maybe clarification, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mati.
So sometimes when I wake up early and I try to chant, right, I'll be first few rounds, mind is going hither and thither, but I'm chanting. But I see at some point, I'll be sitting, chanting, bead is moving, but I didn't hear the sound, because when I chant, I close my eyes and chant in front of my altar, right? Bead is moving, but I don't hear. But I don't know if I am sleeping and I'm chanting. But the bead is moving. I can see that. And after a certain time, I realized that maybe I'm sleeping. And then I kind of just jilt like that. And then I started chanting. Again, it goes into like this. And sometimes I wake up and try to walk and chant. But I don't know if I am chanting or kind of in a meditative sleep or meditating. I don't know. A couple of times it happened, Prabhu.
This is actually
especially it happens when I'm chanting, especially when I'm chanting, this happens. Not only like if I wake up at too early, like 3:30, 4:30. Sometimes even if I wake up at 6, after 6 also, sometimes I see after half an hour of chanting or 15 minutes of chanting, I feel that I'm sleepy.
So basically, this is when the body is not fully in the mode of goodness. So mode of goodness means awareness. You're fully aware. So the body and mind, if they are not rested properly,
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't had enough sleep, if you haven't rested your, like, and if there is a backlog of emotions, you know, because even when you sleep, even before you sleep at night, you should not over stress yourself. You should be completely calm. It is said in yoga, your right nostril should be very active when you sleep. Means sleep is also an active activity of putting the body to rest and recovering. So that is why when you sleep properly and wake up, that is the most important thing. Then you should be able to clear your stomach, because constipation also can cause heaviness of pressure. Prabhupada
Okay.
writes to Balimardan in Australia that he has constipation, headaches, this and that. So when he said headaches, then Prabhupada said you have constipation. So these little things. So that is why health also comes in the mode of goodness. So that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says health, sadhana, service. So when your health is good, your sadhana is good. And when your sadhana is good, your attitude is always blissful. Then you want to serve. You know? So that's the mode. So it will take a little bit of time to identify. For example, previous night, am I sleeping well? Am I sleeping enough? Am I waking up early? So all these things, you know. So as you become more attentive with your chanting, so you see, okay, now I have to sleep early because I want to wake up early and chant. So if my mood is there, so then I adjust everything around the chanting. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. Is it good to chant in the morning 5 to 7? Of course. Morning, earlier you chant, it is better. Actually, Brahma Muhurta around begins 1.5 hours before sunrise. Now sunrise is around 5:30. So literally 4 o'clock onwards, it's a good time. But you should sleep early. You should sleep by 9:30, 10. Is it better to take shower before chanting? Yes, it is important to cleanse, because mouth should be first. He says, Sanatana Goswami says, clean your mouth, clean your belly, shower nicely, and sit to chant. Because when you sit to chant, it should be like a one activity, you know, like 1.5 hours. So you're preparing for like 2 hours. So better to take shower, because it says that when you take shower, all the negative energies, you know, your aura also gets clean. So even if you have to take shower again, that's fine. But your aura gets more and more clean when you take a shower. Yes, perfect.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Dandavat Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhuji, you were saying that while walking, it increases vata. So how does it interfere with the chanting, Prabhu?
So the thing is, you are walking one activity. You have to focus on the walking also. So the thing is, mind, like I said, you can focus on that and you can focus on chanting also. Okay. But better to focus on chanting only. Here you are focusing on walking. Where you are walking, you are seeing objects around you. The objects also, they cause an image. There is an action when the objects, they cause an image. So the mind, there is something, some thought comes. I look at the harmonium. I remember my favorite devotee. All of a sudden, something starts ringing in my mind, you know, when you go around walking. So, but if I sit and just focus on the holy name only, instead of walking around, these are some little things, you know, these are subtle, very small. When you walk around, when you're in the temple, you're seeing devotees chanting, that is also helpful. But the most important is sit down in one place, hear your name, attentive. That's all. Okay? Yeah. Okay, yes. Susan is saying, thank you, so inspiring, looking forward to chanting. Yes, 2 hours of attentive chanting. We'll do more of this. Today was just the beginner. I had so much to give. I didn't realize that it will take so much time. And people also, we have limited time also. But thank you, so many of you came and stayed, like it's almost 1.5 hours now, for so long. So we will have a session. I will plan a session over the weekend again, and we will build on this. So what we have done, so I will take a feedback, all of you, and we will build on this, and we will have more sessions on deeper chanting, focused chanting. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I will stop here for today. And I really thank you with my whole heart, because the more I'm trying to serve, Krishna is giving me more. So you are my guru. All of you are in that sense, because it is only because devotees like you are there, Krishna is giving me an opportunity to speak and purify myself. So thank you all so much, and I'll schedule a session over the weekend and I'll let you know. Meanwhile, if you have any points or any questions you want to let me know on Facebook or on email, you can just let me know, and I will prepare the next session accordingly. If you think some things, some questions or some points that you want to explain, you want me to explain, so then send it over. Or if you have some nice realizations, please send it over and I will add it in the next session. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.